Welcome back, you lovely people. I hope everyone's doing really well. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. Just out walking, lost track of time. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's going to be a bit happier and calmer than last week, given the progress that we've seen in the market. Hi, Ingrid. Thank you for joining. Got a bit of a sore chest, so I'm just going to have this sweet for my throat, my chest. Anyway, you don't need to know about that. Hope everyone out there is healthy. If it's anybody's first time, like Ingrid, then feel free to start posting any questions in the chat on Zoom or in the comments on Instagram. And you can ask me anything. Mostly crypto, but if there's anything else that you really want to know, then feel free to put it in there. And I'll give you a little market update, which, as I said, thankfully, it's going to be better news than last week. Joshua, I see your hand up. So if that's to ask a question, I'll bring you on live in a second once I've done the update. Okay, let me sort my head out. So if we look at the last week, well, we've had a really, really nice bounce, in the past 7 days or so. We're up about 25–30%, which is amazing. And absolutely what we would expect, because as I've been saying all along, I believe we're in the Bitcoin bull market. And I know a lot of people got shaken around over the past couple of months, and that's completely understandable, particularly if it's your first time, if it's your first capitulation. We were warning about this mid-bull market capitulation for a long time, basically since we started these sessions. We talked about it a lot, so hopefully that was good preparation. But of course, it's been a big one, 54%. And the way out has been slow, right? Slower than we would have expected, slower than it was in 2017 and in 2013. But slower doesn't mean that the model is broken. It doesn't mean that the bull market is over. And there is nothing so far that suggests that the bull market is over. If anything, as the days go by, we become more and more confident that our model and our projections are playing out, because we've been talking about it for a year, and we are basically exactly where we would expect to be at this time. We went up quicker, and everybody was getting really excited, up to $65,000, and then we've gone down quickly, and now we're consolidating. So overall, if you zoom out and look at the bull market, and with our eyes on mid-October, then we are pretty much where we would expect to be right now. The target remains $296,000, and that seems very high, but just remember that the vast majority of the gains come in the last month or 6 weeks. So what we're expecting from this point is for us to start making our way up to the all-time high. It's not going to be a walk in the park. None of this is easy. And I think that's something that many people have found out over the past month or so. And it's not going to be easy from here on out. It's going to be really hard. But for those that are willing to put in the work and stay patient and not get shaken around by Elon Musk or any other bad actors out there, or all the mainstream media, the headlines, etc., etc. And you can also get shaken out on the upside, right? When you see the price going up quickly. I know people that were selling at $20,000, $30,000. And I was saying that we're just getting started. Well, I still believe that we are just getting started, might not be the right words, but we're at $40,000 and I think we're going to $300,000 or so. So in price terms, we are right in the middle. So it should be an exciting 4 months or so ahead. And I will be guiding to the best of my ability. And there'll be some mistakes made along the way, of course, but that's what this is all about. But hopefully, like I said, for those that stay patient and stick to the plan. And by the way, when I say the plan, the Bitcoin playbook is exactly what you need. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. All we're doing in these sessions is just following the plan laid out in the playbook. If we continue doing that, staying positive, staying patient, continuing to learn, then I'm sure we will be very, very nicely rewarded come October or so. So we're at $40,000, which is nice to be at that round number. Doesn't mean anything especially, but I know we've been hanging around in the 30,000s for a while, and even over the past week or so, people have been capitulating, i.e. saying that Bitcoin is finished or this bull market's over. I know people that have sold in the past week. And as I've been saying to you, we're in the middle of the Bitcoin bull market. So be careful not to sell the bottom. And altcoins, there's not a great deal to say. They are pretty much just in line with Bitcoin. As I've been saying, I don't expect altcoins to blast off like they were doing in the first 4 months of the year. You may get the odd one here and there, especially if they're doing something cool, they have a lot of news, and you may get a day, I'm sure you will get a day or two here or there where altcoins go crazy, but then they'll just fall back in line. And altcoins and Bitcoin will sort of take it in turns, but neither will get too far ahead until the final 6 weeks. So let's say from early September, when Bitcoin will begin her parabolic run, and altcoins won't keep up with Bitcoin at that time because Bitcoin will be blasting off. Okay, so I'm gonna head to the questions, but if there's anything else you want to know on the price action that's happening today or what we expect over the next 4 months, then do add that into the comments. Ingrid, I have my Bitcoin on Binance, but I have not got a wallet or anything. I have not invested that much, so not sure. Right, so basically the question is holding crypto on exchange versus in a hardware wallet. Ingrid, definitely watch the Bitcoin playbook if you haven't, and maybe you're working your way through it. I think controversially, I'm not going to say recommend. Sorry, Joshua, I forgot. I'll come to you next. Controversially, I say that for newbies, I believe that holding it on exchange is a good solution. And you will read on the internet, not your keys, not your crypto, blah, blah, blah. But Coinbase and Binance are extremely secure. So if you have your security settings turned on, then I think it's a good solution. If you want that extra layer of security, get a hardware wallet. Trezor or Legend, I know from Amazon, and you can send your crypto over to that hardware wallet and hold it there. But I think that's a step too much for a lot of people, because for many people, the ones that follow me as well, I know my target audience quite well now. A lot of people that follow me are making a massive step to invest in crypto in the first place. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. For those with that extra, level of technical acumen plus wanting to completely reduce the risk, then go and get a hardware wallet. Sure. But I don't think you have to if you don't want to. And of course, there are risks involved with the hardware wallet. You can lose it or lose your keys, and then you've lost your crypto. So you do need to be careful with that approach as well. Emma, when do you recommend holding Ethereum until? Well, I guess there's two ways I would answer that, or maybe three ways. Number one, I'm sure most of you saw the videos I was putting out on Bitcoin dominance about, well, before this capitulation, so probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, where I was suggesting moving the majority of holdings into Bitcoin. For any altcoin holdings that remain, you have a couple of options. Number one, hold until the beginning of the Bitcoin parabolic run. And in 2013, that started a couple of months before the peak. So, I'm pulling numbers out the air, but, potentially when Bitcoin is going past $100,000 in August and is about to make that massive run up to the peak, that may be a good time to move into Bitcoin. And then the third option is you're holding your Ethereum or your altcoin through the peak, and then altcoins in the last cycle peaked a few weeks after Bitcoin. So you have a decision to make about whether to sell at the Bitcoin peak or whether to hold for another few weeks and try and get that extra peak. I'll be talking a lot more about that as we get closer. Joshua, I forgot you. Sorry about that. If you want to come and ask me.
Yeah, hi Chris. It's no worries. My question was based around last time we kind of had a capitulation. Like there was quite a lot of speculation from like everyone in the community about it kind of being from people being over leveraged, and that kind of obviously that means there's kind of like a massive sell off because people are just kind of hitting their sell-off levels. So you're saying that kind of learning from that, since that happened at kind of around 60K, wouldn't you kind of think it would be, quite likely it will happen maybe around 80K as well, maybe 100K? And just like, if do we obviously kind of, since maybe like there's more leveraged traders nowadays than there were previously, is it something to really consider?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thanks, Joshua. And you're absolutely right in everything that you just said. So we saw the massive drawdown primarily as a result of leverage in the system. And that creates a cascading effect. When we start to get a sell-off, we sell off 10% and it turns into 54%. A lot of people got very, very hurt. And a lot of traders lost their whole accounts. Tens of billions of dollars of liquidations. Now, a few things on that. Don't forget it works the other way around as well. So one of the reasons why we went up to 65,000 so quickly is leveraged positions as well. So you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And that will be one of the reasons why, in my opinion, we shoot up to 300,000 because of the leverage in the system. Leverage just means more money at play. So it works both ways. And as I understand it from the people that I follow, that leverage hasn't really returned yet, and that's understandable because everybody's scared. I believe it. People were trying to catch the bottom, and the leverage was coming back, and then they kept getting burned, and now it's disappeared. But it will come back very, very quickly. So I think what you're saying is right. Yeah, we head up to 80,000, 100,000, the leverage will come back, and then we'll have massive sell-offs. And this is exactly what I've been saying. It's going to be really, really volatile, extremely volatile. The end of the Bitcoin bull market is extremely volatile. And I think I think this might be the most volatile that we've ever had. You know, in hindsight, 2017 was quite a smooth ride. I've, you know, been looking at the charts. There's pretty nice 30% pullbacks every month or so up to the peak. And I don't think it's going to be as smooth this time. I think it's going to be all over the place. Some massive moves to the upside and some massive moves to the downside. And probably more volatile than 2013. Because 2013, once we got going, was pretty much up in a straight line. That is volatility as well. And that has its own perils, trying to get out at the right time. I think 2021, we're going to see that massive move to the upside, along with massive sell-offs, whether that's over a day, 2 days, a week. And they could be, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if we do something out of the ordinary, like once we're heading up to the peak, we put in let's say a 60% correction and then shoot straight back up. I'm just getting that feel. It's also the macro environment of all of the money printing, the regulation, the the adoption by countries, and the monetary war that's creating. And we're heading into hyperinflation, and hyperinflations are extremely volatile. I shared a chart on my Instagram, I think, yeah, that showed in the Weimar Republic hyperinflation, it showed the gold price. Now the gold price just goes parabolic, goes from 100 marks to a billion, a trillion marks over a year, hyperinflation. But it also shows the monthly change in that price. And it's like 1 month it's up 80% and the other month it's down 60%. And that's gold we're talking about. So once you apply that to the most volatile asset that's ever existed, we could be in for fireworks. And many people are gonna get hurt if they're using leverage. Even if you're not using leverage, which I wouldn't recommend for most people, a lot of people are going to get shaken around drastically, right? Even before this capitulation, once we were dropping on dips where we came back 19%, a lot of people were panicking. Obviously, a lot of people were panicking over the past few months. Everybody was saying that Bitcoin's dead, right? And we're going to 20,000 or 10,000. People are going to start to change their tune once we get to the all-time high. But you've seen the emotion involved, and you've seen how easily people are losing their perspective. So if what I'm talking about happens, where it just is, you know, the most volatile couple of months of any asset class that has ever existed, you know, that's what I'm predicting. Imagine how people are going to handle that, or how people are going to struggle to cope with that. So that's what some of that's gut feel, some of that's data. That's what I'm preparing myself for. Yeah, I think that answered your question, Joshua. Just remember that the leverage works on the upside as well. So I'm sure as going up to 300,000 will be based on huge leverage in the system, and that the eventual crash will wipe out the vast majority of people if they're using leverage. Only less than 10% of traders are profitable. So just remember that when you're seeing people post on their social media about how much money they're making by trading, most of it's bollocks, or they're posting when we're in a nice bull market like over the past 4 months and you're buying altcoins, and now they're not posting, are they? So it's hard. It's hard if you're trying to trade. That's why in the playbook I teach buying as early as possible and holding to the peak, because that is the easiest way of doing it, and the only way that makes sense for most people. Michael.
Yeah, hi, thank you. All I was going to say is that I haven't got a massive portfolio. I mean, my portfolio is under 100,000, under $1 million. So I've decided on taking a hedge against the system. So I've put a third of my portfolio now in crypto. I've got a friend of mine who's just sold his business for 9 million, and you know, I've advised him of trying to put something into the cryptocurrency. He's a bit scared. I don't know much about crypto. I mean, I'm very new in this scene, and I started back in December when I decided on taking a gamble, I suppose, in the system, and I've made a huge amount of money. My emotions, I guess, got carried away when we were going up, and then we've come back down. I've held strong. I'm not going to sell any of my crypto. You know, I've got a main portfolio in Bitcoin and other alternative currencies. But what I'm saying is that, you know, I should have taken profits along the way. And that what I said is I've rode it up and rode it down to a level. I've taken some profits, but probably not as many as I should. I mean, you know, if you speak to the experts, we are looking at a blow off top. And, you know, that never really happened. So technically, I guess we're still in the bull market. But, you know, I think everyone's got to have some sort of strategy, right, of actually just taking the profits along the way until we get to that position where you take profits on the way up and coming down.
Yeah, thank you. Really good analysis and question. And right, so I'll go back to the Bitcoin playbook, and then I'll talk about the strategy that you're talking about. Bitcoin playbook is about keeping things as simple as possible, because it's aimed mostly at people who haven't invested in crypto before, or have a little bit of experience but feel a bit lost. There's actually a lot of people that watch it who really struggled with 2017 because they didn't know what they were doing. So the playbook is simple. It's saying that we are in a Bitcoin bull market. All the indicators suggest we are. It begins at the halving. About, 15 months after the halving, 15 to 18 months after the halving, we have our blow off top. We know it's going to be super volatile, big upswings and big downswings. So it prepares us mentally for that. And then it suggests the best strategy for the vast majority of people, based on my experience, based on talking to people, is to buy as early as possible and then wait for the blow off top. The reason for that is what you're talking about around taking profits on the way up, potentially to buy back in lower, sounds great, And especially at 40,000, when we were at 65,000, it sounds fantastic. It really does. And of course, if you were to be able to do that, you would get more Bitcoin. So it would be a very good strategy. However, in reality, for 95% of people, it is not a feasible strategy. It seems it in hindsight. It does seem it in hindsight, but I know people that were trying to do similar who were picking 40,000 as the top, the mid-cycle top before the capitulation. And then they take some profits at 40,000. We start going up to 50,000. They start panicking a little bit, buy back in, and then 60. What I'm trying to say is all of this is easy in hindsight, but very hard to do in practice, even for professional traders. But for most normies who are not traders and watching the charts and understanding the chart patterns and understanding the on-chain analytics about exactly where we are in the bull market, most people don't have the skill set or the time to do that. And therefore trying to pick those take profit levels and knowing when to buy back in is unrealistic and stressful. Yes, you can take some iterative profits on the way up, but if you actually run the numbers, the advantage of doing that versus buying and holding through to the cycle peak, well, there isn't. Unless you're a very, very high class trader, the most profitable way for most people to manage the Bitcoin bull market is to buy and hold and sell near the top. And that's why the playbook is positioned that way. But I get exactly why you're saying it, because what I've experienced from the community and from looking out there, it's easy for me to say that, and everything I've said is factual. But now, when we're down 54%, everybody's pissed off. Even
I mean, the thing is, I'm not pissed off because it was money that I was prepared to lose if I lost it. So it wasn't like the be all and end all if I'd lost that money. But all I'm saying is that, you know, I think it's just have a, you know, for me, it's just to have a better strategy put in place, really. And I don't know. I think I've just got to have more training in that area.
So that's, you know, the playbook is the playbook and is the best strategy for most people. I definitely, like I say about everything to everybody, take what I'm saying, use the bits that you like, and then add in bits of your own, or add in bits from other people that you follow to come up with your own individual strategy. Don't just do what I say. Because what I say is not necessarily right for everybody.
No, it'd be interesting to know if there's this sort of a strategy in place with the playbook. I look at the playbook and go from there, I think. But no, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. And I will just expand on it as well. You know, the reason why I'm suggesting such a simple strategy, you know, is deeper as well. It's, you know, it's not getting too stressed out about the day-to-day movements. I know for most people, remember when we were going up to 50, 60, 65,000, I know for most people here following, even now in hindsight, if they had want to have been trying to take profits, put yourself in that position again. And, you know, we're not traders. I'm not a trader. I've done trading. I've done some trading, but it's not even what I do myself, because with the experience I have, I know that if you get it wrong, you know, and when we were at 65,000, I was projecting we were going to 80,000. So obviously I wasn't taking profits there. Now I was wrong with that. But it just goes to show how difficult it was, because I look at the analytics every day and I wasn't picking 65,000 as the top. I'm sure some people were, and fair play to them. and I got that one wrong, and next time I might get it right, and I may be able to make money by taking profits next time. But when you average it all out, if I'd have made a massive mistake this time and then do it well next time, well, I end up just even. So I might as well have just been holding. And then zooming out, we're not just looking at this month, at this pullback at October. The Bitcoin playbook is also positioned in a way that I'm going to be releasing the 2022 Bitcoin playbook, 2023, 2024, 2025. And I'm creating a very simple roadmap that anybody can follow to become financially free. And that doesn't involve trading. There's one basic trade. So I wouldn't say it's trading, it's investing. There's one simple investment with one trade, and that is buy Bitcoin as early as possible, take some profits at the peak, and buy back in about 12 months later. Follow that simple strategy and by 2025, you're financially free. By 2029, you've probably got, fuck you money, and you can do whatever you've always wanted to do. So I'm trying to keep it as basic as that, because we all have a generational opportunity, and I don't want anybody to get too confused or make any mistakes. I'm trying to bring as many people on the journey as possible. Sensei. Lots of people coming live, which is amazing. You there? Sensei? I can't hear you. I can see that you're unmuting, but I can't hear you. All right, I'll leave you, and if you manage to figure out how to, oh, there. Are you there? No, okay. You'll have to type it then. All right. Let me catch up. Okay. On Binance, do you hold Binance coin for cheaper trade fees? I don't, because I don't need to. I'm a few levels up, so it doesn't make a difference to me. But that's just I wouldn't take a decision to buy Binance coin purely based upon that, because if you save 0.25% in fees, but you're invested in the wrong asset, I'm not saying it is the wrong asset, then that would be a bad decision. So I would just see it as a bonus if you want to hold Binance coin. If you get cheaper fees out the back of it, then great. But I wouldn't do it just to get cheaper fees. Binance is already cheap, so I wouldn't be trying to make extra savings, but then make the wrong decisions. David, please can we run over in a bit more detail the take profit strategy? Yes. So you're right. I'm going to put out content around that as we get closer to the time. But I have been doing one-on-one training with quite a few people on take profit strategy. So at a very high level, you have 3 options, is the way I'm going to be presenting it. Option 1, you're trying to pick the top. Now, like I was saying to Michael about the trading, that's not going to work for most people. So unless you believe in yourself as an expert trader and that you understand the Bitcoin bull market and the price action inside and out, then you can pick, in 2017, it was $19,500. If you back yourself to pick that moment in time, then crack on and let me know how you get on, because I'll find that really, really interesting. It's not going to be the right approach for most people. Option 2, if you look at 2017, we spent about a month near the top. So that included the last week or so of the parabolic move, and then 3 weeks of a correction with a recovery, bouncing, and then a crash. So in the training, you'll see I'll put a box around that, approximately a month. And if we can pick that month this time, let's just say it ends up being the month of October. I can't say for sure right now. And it'll be part of my job to indicate that we're heading into that zone. And I will try my best. But I'm confident that I will do a good job of that. But if we can pick that period of time, let's say it's October, then a very simple strategy for most people, and I think this is the strategy that most people should follow, is you then make whatever you want to sell down, you do it in 4 or 8 equal amounts. So every Monday at 9 a.m. or every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m. And you just schedule that in your diary and go in and do it. And that will mean you get an average price. It doesn't matter whether you got the very top or the dip or the recovery, you'll get an average price. If you get out within 30% of the top, then you've done a fantastic job. It also mitigates the risk of the exchanges being down. Option 3, a little bit more exotic. So, it's similar to option 2, but if you want to be watching the charts a little bit more and watching what's going on, option 3, you do those 4 or 8 sales, but you don't schedule them in. You're looking for big up days. So you'll need to be on the charts every day. So it won't work for most people. I think option 2 is the one for most people. But option 3, if you also want to be on the charts, knowing that we're in that month, on those days when we're up, let's say, I'll figure out the exact numbers, but more than 8%, because it's going to be really volatile, then you make the sale on those days. So you still get an average price, but if you do it well, your average price will probably be higher than option 2. So I think for most people, option 2, want to get a bit more clever with it, option 3. And if you are fully confident in your trading and intuition, I guess, because it's going to be guesswork to try and do that, price action plus intuition, then you try and do it all in a oneer. But I think in that order for most people, that will all be in training that I'm going to put out in, I don't know, probably a month or so, depending on how things are going. Ingrid, what kind of pound level would you suggest a hardware wallet? There's no pound level. It's a personal decision. It's not more or less risky to hold more of your pounds on there. Well, obviously in a way it is, because you can lose more, but you're not open to more attacks if you hold more pounds on there. So I don't think you can make that delineation. It is how comfortable you are with the exchange and how comfortable you are setting up a hardware wallet. Felix, there's been a lot of talk about governmental digital coins, their threat to Bitcoin and potential government regulation of Bitcoin and other cryptos. What's your perspective on these issues? It's a big question. Government digital coins is quite easy, actually. That's not a threat to Bitcoin whatsoever. That's just fiat currency, but a lot worse in terms of surveillance and control. It's still fiat, it's still controlled centrally. They can still type as many of them as possible or as they want. The only difference is that they will monitor and tax every transaction and surveil you to well, everything. They'll see everything. They're in control of everything. They'll put free money into your account every month, i.e. universal basic income. I was saying it a year ago at the beginning of the pandemic. Wales are now testing it. They're rolling off the furlough scheme right now so that everybody gets pissed off, and then they'll introduce the universal basic income legislation, which everyone will think is going to be great, and it is going to be awful. But that's one of the benefits to the government and the bankers of central bank digital wallets. It's much easier for them to do universal basic income, and then you become fully dependent on the state. Not a threat to Bitcoin whatsoever. If anything, it is a massive benefit to Bitcoin, because now everything's digital, and it's not a fair playing field because they will try and rig the game so you can't choose Bitcoin. But at least if everybody's got everything digital and they've got their wallets on their phones, and you can choose between your Britcoin or Fedcoin and Bitcoin, then there's only one winner. So it will introduce a lot more people to digital currency. Government regulation is, it is what it is. They can't ban Bitcoin. So they're going to try and make it really hard for you to buy Bitcoin, because they don't want you to get out of the system. Christine Lagarde, the head of the ECB, said something horrific. She said, we don't want people to have access to crypto because it's an escape hatch, and we don't want them to have an escape hatch, which tells you everything you need to know. They want you fully controlled and in the system. So they'll try and make it hard for you. They don't want to make it hard for them because they all own Bitcoin and their friends own Bitcoin. So they're happy with that, but they'll try and make it hard for you. They'll try and tax you to death. So expect all of that. And that's the nature of government. They will do everything in their power to keep you oppressed. Michael, I've got half my portfolio now in crypto. I'm thinking of transferring some more, however, always about risk management. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. I did a portfolio allocation series on YouTube. Oh, sorry, that was just about your crypto portfolio. Yeah, so total portfolio allocation is a personal decision. Paul Tudor Jones today, one of the most famous investors of all time and one of the good guys, at least in my opinion, he came out today and said he has 5% of his portfolio in Bitcoin. He manages about $7 billion. So a year ago he was saying 1%. Now he's saying 5%. The other end of the spectrum, Bitcoin maximalists have essentially 100% because they don't believe in anything else. And you need to decide what your appetite is, but also your worldview. Because if you speak to a Bitcoiner who has 100% in Bitcoin, then they look at risk management in a completely different way. They believe investing in anything outside of Bitcoin is risky. Why do they think that? Because Bitcoin is the hardest, soundest money that's ever existed. So why would you buy anything else or hold anything else? I'm not saying that's right or wrong, so I don't want to get into giving financial advice. But a lot of it depends on your worldview. Are you still in the fiat world? Are you intending to stay and live in fiat world? Do you have some belief in fiat currency? Where are you on that journey? Do you believe in other assets? Is the real estate just propped up by central banks and governments? Is that going to continue? What about the stock market? You know, you need to do your work and your research and get to what you think works for you. I would make sure that you don't just follow what anybody else says, whether that's a Bitcoin maximalist that says 100% Bitcoin, or traditional finance that say at most 5% Bitcoin, right? I don't agree with them, which I'm sure that you are. I'm sure that you already know. So taking all of the opinions and then make what you think is the best decision. There is no right or wrong answer. Emma, how would you suggest buying Bitcoin from now until the peak? As soon as possible. You know, you're buying at a 38% discount. So, you know, if let's say, for example, you had a big chunk of money to invest. Now, me and a coaching client talked about it the other day, and I was saying, why not averaging over the next 3 to 4 weeks? You know, make 6 purchases, 8 purchases over the next 3 to 4 weeks, but trying to bring it forward as much as possible on the assumption that we're going into the blow off top in a couple of months. Joshua, are we still using the halving tracker for our TA? Yes, we are, alongside other tools, but the halving tracker is absolutely well in play. The cycle repeat graph is powerful as well, showing us a target for the cycle peak of $348,000. So that would make my target conservative. There's a number of tools out there. Look at Charts BTC on Twitter, very good resources. And I'm also getting resources from the Conquer the Markets community, which I'm a part of, which I'm using as well. Ingrid, how do you know what the top is? It sounds like you haven't got to that bit of the playbook yet, but we use...
I've answered that question, thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I've got it now, got it, thank you.
Right. No problem. Oh yeah, I'm going backwards. What's going on here? Okay. Emma, yeah, Emma. I found myself being reluctant to spend my money how I used to, as I want to invest it in Bitcoin. That's amazing. A lot of people find that, which is a good thing. It makes you really... Okay, so what happens before people invest in Bitcoin is that they're in the fiat system. The fiat system is built on inflation. It can only work that way because they have to print more and more and more to prop up the system. That means the value of your pounds and euros and dollars is depreciating every single day. So even subconsciously, and of course the media doesn't help either, we develop a mindset of consumerism because our money won't be worth as much tomorrow as it is today, even if we are not fully aware of why that's happening or that it's happening. We develop that mindset. And then Bitcoin is the reverse, because Bitcoin is a depreciating asset and it's going to be worth more tomorrow than it is today. Then we develop the habit of saving. And guess what? You know, the greatest, most prosperous civilizations were built on saving and not spending. We've got that the wrong way around over the past, well, probably since 1913 and the creation of the Federal Reserve, but particularly over the past couple of decades. And Bitcoin is showing us that we had it all wrong, and that's a good thing. Emma, worried what I will have the ability to spend my money on once all of our freedom has been taken away. Well, if your freedom has been taken away, what do you need? I guess food and shelter. Yeah, absolutely. It's a murky environment, and I think you're right to be worried because everything's in play at the moment, and there are big dark forces in play as well. So I do think it's important to educate yourself and figure out what's going on, figure out what the risks are. I do believe that we've seen a lot of, there's been a lot of things that have been hard to deal with over the past year. And I think that's only going to get worse, unfortunately. So it's definitely worth educating yourself on the global agenda and who's in charge and what they're trying to do, and then figure out how to position yourself accordingly. Those that don't do that work will get trapped. Those that do the work at least can try and position themselves to, to protect themselves and make sure that they can look after themselves and those around them. Yeah, I agree. Traveling could be difficult. Spending could be difficult. It is promising to see Visa and MasterCard and PayPal adopting Bitcoin payments. Of course, the amazing news out of El Salvador, we hope will, we hope we'll see that across the world as soon as possible. That would certainly make things far, far better. But until that time, just educate yourself. Thoughts on the conspiracy that Bitcoin was set up by the government is complete nonsense for so many reasons. And I'm what most people would call a conspiracy theorist. I'd call it, somebody who's searching for the truth. But Bitcoin being set up by the government is complete nonsense. Anybody that says it, in my opinion, is just, either one of two things. They've got to that stage where everything is a conspiracy, which is kind of understandable given the past year. But you still need to apply critical thought to every situation. And most people who say that have not done the work to understand Bitcoin. So then they don't deserve your attention. And I think part of it comes from people almost thinking it's too good to be true, straight thinking that everything is completely shit now. And to an extent, I agree, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And when there's a ray of hope in the world, be careful not to tarnish it with the same brush, because otherwise you're gonna destroy the life raft that's here to save us. So be really careful. Make sure you educate your friends about the truth and what's going on. That's why getting to a country that is more enlightened is so important, right? Yeah, I definitely, a lot of people are looking to move out of UK, US, Canada, Australia to places that have less tyrannical governments. You've seen what the UK is doing today, telling us we can't have our freedom for another 4 weeks. Of course, we've always had our freedom. It's a choice. But yeah, moving somewhere where you have more freedom to do what you like and put the things in your body that you like, and do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt people. I think a lot of people are starting to think that way, and I know a lot of people have moved already, and many that are thinking about it. So definitely understand that. I think we're seeing the fall of empires, but they don't go down without creating a lot of chaos. Zoe, good time to buy in? always a good time to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's programmed to go up. It's been going up for 12 years. If you're thinking more short term, then we have 4 months until the cycle peak. So, and it's $40,000. $40,000 Bitcoin is very cheap, in my opinion. JR Lord, do you think it could fall back into the low 30s or feel the resistance at 40 is here now? We're just tackling 40 at the moment, so we definitely can't assume that we're not going into the 30s again. But my base case is that we make our way up from here. I want to see us get above 41,000. If we do, we're looking at 50,000. That's our 4 areas of recovery. 2 we've already done. Once we're above 52, we're looking to take out the all-time high and then begin our parabolic phase. So I wouldn't be trying to get an extra 10% here or there at the moment, because there's 4 months. That's free. 4 months until the cycle peak. So you may get left behind. Like I was saying before, averaging your purchases over the next 3 to 4 weeks, I think you'll be in a good position, but I wouldn't wait much longer than that. And if you wait, you may end up buying at 50,000. So just be prepared for that. Things move quickly to the downside and the upside. I haven't managed to watch your Ethereum video. Well, that's naughty. Go and watch it as soon as possible. It was a really good one. But would you recommend converting all Ethereum to Bitcoin or holding some? I had this question earlier, so definitely rewind after and go and watch it. And go back and watch the Bitcoin dominance videos from a couple of weeks ago on the YouTube playlist, because it's all there, everything you need in detail. I can't tell you whether to convert your Ethereum to Bitcoin right now, unfortunately. I think both will be much higher in October than they are today. And Scott is saying, what will Ethereum get to this year? The prediction is in that video. Everyone go and watch that video if you care about Ethereum. And my prediction was $15,000. Katja, how are you preparing yourself to keep centered in the midst of the market volatility? That's a good question. For me, I learned a lot of lessons from this capitulation as well. You know, I'm not calm all of the time, but I think it was, well, I know it was very, very good training for all of us for what is coming, because that was, you know, just the beginning. And for me, it's about having a good routine, morning routine and evening routine, making sure that the phone and the charts are not the first thing and last thing in the day. Because then we, you know, for me anyway, everything gets really foggy and stressful. Meditating and then doing the work, so the study, looking at what happened in 2017, looking at what happened in 2013, to create those worst case scenarios or unlikely scenarios, and they're exactly the types of things I'll be talking about on the videos over the next couple of months. Anybody that hasn't watched it as well, watch the volatility video that I did a few days ago, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, hope to meet me on the 27th. Thank you for the reminder. We're having a community meetup on the 27th of June, the day after the Freedom March. We've been talking a bit about that stuff. So I'll be marching on Saturday, at the community meetup on Sunday. If you are not in the community Telegram group, then it's closed. No, but send me a message and I'll ask the moderators if I can get you in. And the details of the meetup are in there, going to be in there. Katia is running that, doing an amazing job. See you later, Jacqueline. Bushwhacker, the chain link I bought at $20 to $30 had gone up before the big capitulation. Yeah, everything everything had gone up before the big capitulation. $20, $24, $30 chain link is cheap, in my opinion. You just have to be able to ride the volatility. Couldn't find the answer online. I use Kraken and it doesn't have a seed phrase like other platforms. Seed phrases you only need for your hardware wallets. So if you're holding on Kraken, you won't have a seed phrase. Rob, did you mean the 4 to 8 weeks before October or after? I was saying 4 weeks and make 4 to 8 sales. So once a week or twice a week. And I used October as the example. I can't tell you yet when it will be because I'm watching the data. And as we get closer and things start to line up somewhat, then we will know. But the current target is mid-October. So that 4 weeks would be approximately the month of October. We'll get more specific as we get closer. Gina, where are we all moving to? So Katya's been doing some good work on this as well. She's putting together a document that we can use to decide where to move the community to. I know my shortlist, which I sent to her, was Mexico, Costa Rica, and Bali. I think all are amazing places. El Salvador has just added itself to the shortlist, given how incredible the government are being and the opportunities that they want to give people who care about crypto. You can get citizenship in El Salvador for free Bitcoin. Free Bitcoin may sound like a lot, but it's cheaper. That would be what I believe one of the cheapest citizenships in the world. Maybe there's a few cheaper. I think Panama might be cheaper, but if you want a second residency stroke citizenship, depending on how they do it, and El Salvador is really trying to get as many crypto enthusiasts and entrepreneurs as possible. So Gina, we're doing a project around it to see where the best place is. And if you're in the Telegram group, you'll definitely be updated. Charles, are you at all surprised by what seems like the 100th postponement of lockdown restriction? I'm not, because I've been saying that lockdowns are not going to end. They won't end. It's been the plan all along to delay the lockdowns. This lockdown takes us through to the beginning of, they'll take it through to the beginning of autumn. Then they'll show a big increase in cases and then they'll lock everybody down. Yeah, that's my opinion anyway. Hopefully it's not as bad as I expect, but everything that I've been predicting over the last year has come true. So I've got no reason to think that they're just gonna start treating people well again, unfortunately. Hey Richie, what's up? Good to see you, man. Gina's in, great. Last questions over here. Emma, are there any altcoins you'd recommend buying right now? Answered it on the last Ask Me Anything. My focus is on Bitcoin now until the peak, for the reasons that I've been talking about on the channel. And if you are in any other altcoin, I believe you need a specific reason why you think it's going to outperform Bitcoin. The ones that I can come up with are Kusama, because they've got a lot going on and going live with their project. And I do like Monero and Pirate Chain as privacy coins, because I believe that as governments continue to reach in and try and figure out what you're doing, then there's going to be a huge demand for privacy coins. Emma, do you think countries like El Salvador aren't part of the Great Reset agenda? Doesn't seem like it, because they passed a law very, very quickly, on purpose, very quickly, to make Bitcoin legal tender. And they did that very quickly to avoid the repercussions from the elites and the IMF and the US, basically to rush it through, which was an incredible thing. And now you have the IMF threatening them and tell them they're going to take not release funding and stuff like that. So does it seem like El Salvador is on board, which is fantastic. We need as many countries to be on the team and the good guys as possible. Hopefully many of us follow in El Salvador's footsteps, and I am very optimistic about that, especially all those South American, Latin American countries. Emma, does your family align with thoughts about the world now, struggling with not being able to talk to friends and family as they think I'm crazy? I understand. I have a lot of empathy for you. I'm hearing so many stories, really unfortunate stories of families, you know, splitting, or at least being fractured, relationships. And it's really, really, really hard time for a lot of people. You know, if somebody's not willing to hear and not wanting to hear the truth or the work that you've done, then that's their choice. They're not ready to hear it because it would make them question all of their worldviews, and that's very scary for most people, even subconsciously. It's I do believe many people. Oh, my Instagram's going off. Yeah, look, it's hard. It's really hard, and I'm sorry that it sounds difficult. But we can only do what we can do. Speak the truth to those that want to hear it, and to those that don't, just send them love and compassion. That's the best advice I can give you. Right, my Instagram's playing up, so I think that's going to be annoying for everybody on there. I think I've got to all the questions. Thank you, everybody. Some really, really good ones. Hopefully it was helpful. Reach out to me, any other questions during the week. And if not, I'll see you back here a week today when Bitcoin's at its all-time high. Only joking. I'm sure we're not going to go that quickly, but hopefully we continue going up. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.